Yinam Cohen is the Consul General of Israel to the Midwest and joins us now. Mr. Cohen, I know how busy it is now, and thank you for taking the time. But first off, condolences on some very personal losses for you, I'm sure.
Thank you. I think that no family in Israel today is not saddened and grieving the loss of family members or just people that they know. So thank you for that.
The consulate itself, is it a resource for the Jewish community in and around Chicago and the Midwest?
Absolutely. We are in direct contact with Jewish community members, but also with many other Americans who are not necessarily Jewish, who first might have family members or friends in Israel and want to get some information. But also, I have to tell you, it goes to the other direction, because we're getting thousands of people reaching out to us asking how they can help. They tell us, we want to support Israel. We want to help you. So this is a two-direction contact right now.
How do people help?
Sorry?
How can people help? People who want to help, what do they do?
Absolutely. So first, the most important thing for us is the expressive support that we get, starting, with President Biden, governors, and just thousands of people who call us and express the support. There are some rallies that are planned throughout Chicagoland in the upcoming days in support of Israel, and not only here in Chicago, but all across the Midwest. And this is something that sends a very strong message of support. People in Israel see that, and it really warms our heart in these very complicated days. There's also designated channels to send donations, medical aid to hospitals in Israel, to the families who've been affected by that, to the communities who've been affected, and it's happening.
Such a serious situation here, and everyone's really trying to understand it from all angles. And yesterday there was a peaceful march in front of the consulate. You were able to speak to some of those people. What did you take away from the folks that were demonstrating, and what did you say to them?
The support rallies for Israel in Chicago are planned to be today and tomorrow. And what I'm going to tell them is that first, their support means a lot to us, because it's not only us here in Chicago watching them, but many people in Israel, and it's really very meaningful for them to see the amazing support by Americans. But we have to remember that the situation in Israel is still unfolding. We know right now of more than 700 casualties, the vast majority of them civilians, many of them children, mothers, elderly people. More than 100 Israelis probably being held hostages by Hamas after being abducted from their homes. Children were torn away from their mothers. Young children, elderly people, Holocaust survivors are being kept hostage by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And I have to say that, unfortunately, there's also some Americans among the casualties, and probably among the hostages in the Gaza Strip. So what that means is that we stand together, America and Israel, against the terrorism, against the face of evil.
And there is the State Department report this morning that says 9 Americans are confirmed dead. The missing number remains to be determined. Is there any sense of how confident or lack of confidence there is in regards to saving those hostages of many nations that were taken on Saturday?
Right. I believe that in the next 48 hours, we'll have the full information about the names, about the situation of the casualties, of the wounded, and of the people who have been abducted and now held hostage in the Gaza Strip. And it is really our responsibility to make sure, Israel's responsibility, but also all our partners, including the United States, to make sure that all these hostages come back home safe and sound.
Question that came up, not enough this weekend for my purposes, but the question that came up this week is why now? Mm-hmm. What is your belief as to why this terroristic attack occurred now?
It is clear right now, and we will definitely have to investigate it more to understand more, that this operation was planned for months. It is still a big question mark why we did not have enough intelligence on that to prevent it. I think that, let me tell you one thing. It is a very important question. Some people ask me if it has any political, goal behind it. For example, to sabotage the Abraham Accord or maybe a peace deal with Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
While it could definitely be the case, I want to tell these people that it's much more than that, because both Hamas and Islamic Jihad have an ideology that does not accept Israel's existence, Israel being the Jewish and democratic state that it is, Israel as being the homeland of the Jewish people. And inspired by Iran, inspired and financed by Iran, they have been conducting terror attacks against Israel for decades now, with the operation of last weekend being the most devastating one in our history.
We know you're very busy, and I'm going to let you go on this, but the Palestinian civilians who have nothing to do with this fight are suffering as this horrible attack has taken place on Israeli civilians who have nothing to do with it as well. Politicians/terrorists, in the case of Saturday, have gotten in the way. Iran's business, its core industry, from the government perspective, appears to be terrorism. Do you, speaking on behalf of the government and what you can say at this time, believe that Iran is directly involved and that there will have to be some sort of squaring of that?
Absolutely, because Iran is not just a threat to Israel by its inspiring and financing and supporting terrorist organizations around us. It is a threat to the moderate Arab countries in the Middle East. They have been attacking any country that did not, join their axis of evil. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other countries. But now it's also a global threat because they have been the major supporters of the Russian aggression against Ukraine. So it's a multi-layered threat, and it's a global threat. And as a global threat, we need a global answer to this threat.
Mr. Cohen, God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the civilians, the innocents on the Palestinian side, and God help us get the terrorists and bring them to justice. Good luck. We hope you'll come back.
Thank you. Good morning.
There you go.
Thank you.
It sounds like a guy that hasn't slept much, understandably.
Yeah. Wow.
No, it's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking and stupid on so many levels that this is the world we're living in.